So the first quarter this year we increased by 6% compared to the first quarter of 2016 last year, and that was a pleasing result because if you look at our target market, which is the non-life, non-motor market, it declined. I mean the growth in the overall market growth in Romania non-life was mostly from the motor part. So we were pleased to grow. And I also mentioned in the beginning that our 2016 audit was finalised in the last week or two, and we had an increased profit, bottom line profit of almost 700,000 euros, which was roughly double the profit in 2015. And I mentioned that's an important point because that profit will not be paid in dividends. It will go back into reserves. It will be used to further strengthen the company for bad days in the future. We had a good year last year. The only issue with last year is the premiums went down slightly because of the dynamic of the market mainly, and our appetite for some of the marine business in Turkey. We reduced the underwriting there. And this year we've seen in the first quarter the number of bond insurance policies increased quite dramatically, which is good because it means that there are signs of more activity in the market. People are starting projects, and I also mentioned that we've tried to automate a lot more of the underwriting. So rather than manual quotes, typing with emails, we're now automating with semi-automatic quoting systems. So brokers have a faster service, and they come to us because they know they can get a quote quickly for their clients, and that's an important part of our distribution.
Which threats you think the Romanian market have for this year? Yeah. You are looking a little bit from outside.
Not from CertAsig point of view. Okay.
Yes, it's.
I think
motor insurance oriented.
I think the threat to the market, unfortunately, is we're due to have a big catastrophe. I think an earthquake is quite. I mean, it's 40 years since the last big earthquake. That's always a possibility.
It's become more and more probable.
I think as taken on conditional probability, it is a higher risk. So I think that's a threat. I think that's a threat, and I do worry about. I do worry that the insurance market as a whole has the balance sheet to absorb a big earthquake. I think floods would be more localised; they're not a problem. But I think an earthquake is quite possible. It's the 40th anniversary of the 77 earthquake here. That's a threat. I think another threat is I think Solvency II has had a very positive impact on the market, but I think some of the smaller companies, without good reinsurance and without really committed shareholders, I think they're struggling. We could see some smaller players leaving the market. That's a threat to the market because I think then there'll be less insurers and there's less choice. That's a threat. Of course, I'm not talking about CertAsig, but I consider ourselves to be a medium-sized insurance company, rather than small. A growing insurance company, and we have very strong shareholders and very strong reinsurance. I think there's too much focus on motor insurance. I think it's a shame that so many insurance companies spend so much time on motor insurance because it should be such a simple product, but it seems to complicate the market. This is one of the reasons we're not involved. I think those are the major threats. What else? Yeah, those are the major ones.
But you're saying that this year you're seeing more and more companies looking to more complex insurance products than in the past.
Yes, there is a bit more competition. I mean, that's the threat. Maybe clients.
Yeah.
More clients. Yes, I mean that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity rather than a threat. Yes. Yes, I mean that's a positive. That's a positive thing that we're targeting. I mentioned SMEs more because they're not sufficiently insured. I would say insurance penetration is low, so we see that as an opportunity for growth. So it's not just the big risks which we mentioned in our press. We're also very interested in SMEs. In fact, that will be one of the main drivers for growth. So that's a big opportunity.
I know you were going to mention the new products that you're launching in the bond segment.
Yes. It's a good thing. So we have a number of different products for bonds. For example, we offer custom bonds. Yeah, we're the largest player in the market, as I mentioned. So we have a number of lots of ideas for bonds, and custom bond is a bond that when you're transiting in and out of the country, and your cargo is at the with the customs operations, you need to deposit a bond or cash. Most people prefer to deposit a bond, which basically guarantees that the cargo will stay there for a certain period of time whilst it's checked and the papers are dealt with. So this is a bond that has been issued in the past by banks, but now it's something that will be issued by insurance companies, and we're approved or recognised by the customs offices around Romania. And this is quite a key one. We have some other types of bonds, such as payment bonds, which allows suppliers and buyers to trade with more certainty. This is another type of bond. We haven't been aggressive in this because we only offer that to clients that we know and have very strong balance sheets, but like to manage the risk nevertheless. Most of these products we launch fairly slowly onto the market with clients that we've worked with other types of bonds. So this is an exciting area. Another product that we mentioned, and I saw a flyer, is for forest insurance. It's very different, nothing to do with bonds. And this is a physical damage policy. And we know that roughly 27 or 28% of Romania is covered by forest, not necessarily commercial forest, but we estimate that less than 0.5% of those forests are actually insured. So they're exposed to different perils, fire. Probably more importantly, high risk would be wind, storm, and there have been some notable losses, not claims because they weren't insured, but losses in the market. And this is a product that we know exists in Western Europe. It's underwritten in France, Germany, and the UK for us, not just in those countries, but all over the world.
What's happened with the drone insurance?
What's happened with it? It's still.
You see, it's flying more and more, and
you see more drones. I wish more of them were insured. We insure, I think it's more than 20 drones now. 20, yes, 20, including 2 or 3 fleets. Fleets being 2 or 3 with the same owner. That's our definition of a fleet.
If there are 2, it's a fleet.
Yes.
Okay.
So
if there are 3, it's a
3 is
division.
a really big fleet. It's
yes,
like a regiment, or it's an air force. Yes, the drones. It was never something that we thought would generate huge volumes of premium. We also have some drones in Bulgaria which we insure. But one of the reasons we continued with it was that it gets good visibility in the market. It's an extremely specialist insurance. We have a small general aviation insurance portfolio anyway. We insure about 50 or 60 aircraft in Romania and about 20 in Bulgaria. So it fitted nicely. It's not such an isolated product for us. It's part of our general aviation portfolio. But it gets interesting media coverage, and a lot of our brokers are asking about these products, and for them it's something a bit different. Maybe some other products that we're looking to launch, subject which is much because of the brokers' demand, is cyber risks and IT risks. So we have professional indemnity products for the IT software companies, IT companies, which is something that again, if you look at those North America, they've had some quite spectacularly large claims where servers have crashed and customers have suffered for different reasons. They haven't been invoiced properly, invoicing has been wrong, sent to the wrong places. These automated processes can go wrong just because of a bug, or maybe a hacker hacking into a database rather. So this is something that in Romania we're not aware of any significant large claims, but clearly IT and particularly the use of internet is very common. So we believe risk managers are thinking more about cyber and potential risks associated with it. So the actual cost of the insurance at the moment in Romania is relatively low, so it's quite a good time to buy this cover, and it's something we're designing products case by case. There's no sort of fixed product that we offer. We look at each company and tailor the products accordingly. So that's something that we're offering. Another product that we're offering, not necessarily as a dedicated individual product, but we added onto our property or engineering risks, is for terrorism. Perhaps not such a nice topic to talk about, but a number of our clients, particularly with international exposure, have asked for terrorism cover, which is normally excluded. This is driven mostly because the reinsurers don't want to cover terrorism because it's a particularly complex risk, and it's something that we've started to offer as a sort of add-on, where clients, let's say for example, they have an office building, and the office building is 15 million euros sum insured, we will offer 5 million euros sublimit for terrorism. And when we look at risk factors such as location, is it next to an embassy, is it next to a government building, is it next to an airport, potential targets for terrorist attacks. I mean, and myself coming from London, I'm very aware that the terrorism can occur. It's something that perhaps risk managers overlook, and Romania is a peaceful country, I would say, which is very good. But it's interesting that some risk managers are thinking about terrorism. So we responded to that in the last 6 months. That demand has increased.
How are you assessing the risk of terrorism?
Terrorism, as I mentioned, so we look at the location. We look at the location of the risk. If it's close to perhaps potentially sensitive locations, embassies, maybe government buildings, airports.
Are you looking also at the demographics or something?
Yes, I mean
immigration or.
Yes, we also look at the nationality of the actual company itself, and maybe their clients, their business activity, if it's sort of something that could be sensitive or a potential threat, or it could be a target. On our marine business, which is Turkish, clearly there's perhaps a slightly higher elevated risk of terrorism, but generally vessels are not terrorist targets. It's just central capital cities usually.
Maybe near Somalia?
Somalia?
Yes, maybe near Somalia.
Yes, it's a good point, because many of our vessels, most of them trade in the Black Sea, but they do pass Somalia. They go through the Gulf of Aden. So that is if we know the vessels trade in those zones, we usually expect them to have certain. The risk actually there is piracy, which is somehow similar in a way to not quite the same, but it's a similar external risk that you can insure against. So
you can insure terrorism, but you cannot insure piracy.
No, we do. We can both. We do both. Piracy is obviously clearly for ships. It's only relevant for ships. Terrorism is relevant for static risks, so for property risks in Romania. And Bulgaria we offer terrorism as well. Yeah. So this is a risk that it's existed for a long time. You might call it an emerging risk, because particularly now, I mean, there have been more terrorist attacks in Europe, unfortunately. So I think awareness of people read the newspapers, they see on television, maybe they hear perhaps colleagues have been affected. So this has somehow stimulated demand for this.
Knowing that other companies don't insure terrorism, isn't this really very expensive for the company to insure those risks?
For the clients. Our premiums.
And also for the company, if the risk is happening.
If there's a claim.
If it's a claim, yes.
Yes, because potentially, the worst scenario usually it would be an explosion, a bomb attack, something like this. Yes, and you could have a very severe claim, and one hopes that there wouldn't be fatalities or injuries. But we still perceive terrorism as a relatively low risk, and we responded more to the demand of our clients. But clearly, we take it very seriously. We price it correctly. We try to identify which of our clients might be more exposed, and the fact that they've asked for terrorism probably means they have some kind of concern. But we're reinsured. It's covered in what we call our treaties, which are agreements to reinsure each and every policy, and we've included terrorism in 2017. So it was something that we changed in our business model to offer our clients this coverage.
So